Hello. How are you doing? Welcome. I'm a couple minutes late. Sorry. Actually, I have to do a little bit of housekeeping real quick. So you come along with me. You won't see what I'm doing, but let's go to YouTube Live so I can get to my dashboard. I need to update the graphic. Hi, my name's John Skippy Limcool. Welcome to a new live stream event. We have some interesting things planned for today. My goodness. Arturia has released a 3 digital delay bundle that we're going to take a look at, which I think is pretty cool. They're a little interesting with what they're calling it. Calling it 3 delays you'll actually use or something like that, I believe was what they called it. Let me check that out. Arturia, what was they called it? 3 delays you will actually use. So we will take a look at these 3 delays and we will debate whether we would actually use them. On top of a couple other things. Let me see here. Change the thumbnail. I gotta go like that and use this and update and change this. This is August 31st. Labor Day weekend. Can you believe it? This year is just flying by like crazy. So let me change the title because we're no longer looking at bass plugins. We're doing Arturia UR. 3 delay. And BYOME. Do you guys know BYOME? If not, you should be aware of it and its power. And I can't say why I'm picking this moment to show it to you, but maybe we'll talk about what's going on with everything next week. That's all I'm going to say. And a new segment I'm going to start to do as a test with you guys called 15 with. This is the beta test. Beta attempt. This is where I spend 15 minutes with one of my libraries and we kind of explore what we can do with it. We end up with something kind of interesting music-wise probably when we're done. And I want to do this with all the libraries as separate videos, but I want to try to do a test with one of these libraries. You can even tell me what library you think I should use. Think about that when we get to that segment. Tell me what library I should use for this. It's going to be 15 minutes playing with the patches, getting inspired, starting to write music, calling up Supermacho drums to add some drums, maybe going into multi-mode and layering things, maybe doing multi-track to turn it into a fuller song. But 15 minutes playing with a library just so you can get an idea of what you can do with it. I've got like 40 libraries for Omnisphere. There's lots of libraries for Contact and Serum. And I just realized some of the videos to introduce these libraries are like 8 years old, 9 years old. It would take forever for you to scroll just to get down to the library walkthrough. So I was like, maybe we should do some new ones. Adrian, I was BioDude. Oh, BioDude, right. Hi, Adrian, good to see you. Shannon, all you guys, good to see everybody. So anyway, I got something I want to share. A couple of things to share. 3 years ago, I believe it popped up on my Facebook as 3 years ago. So this was an Airbnb that I stayed with about 3 years ago, let's just say, to keep it from being weird and accurate or inaccurate, in Los Angeles. Actually, just a few miles from, it was in Sherman Oaks. It's in an area that I used to live in when I lived in LA for 18 years before I moved up here to Portland, Oregon. I was in Los Angeles for an event. Can you guys think for a second? And there's a clue on the screen. What event happened 3 years ago about? Time's up. It was the introduction for Keyscape. Spectrasonics had an event at a really cool hotel in Hollywood, And I, along with a lot of other people, came down to see the event, to be a part of it, to enjoy this really cool new library of pianos and museum instruments that came out. And then about 3 years later, I finally released a library for it. It took a while. There's so many patches that it came with. I wanted to give it time between when I released the libraries, you know, to where it's like, oh, great, new sounds for something cool. So let's see here. I need to get, I'm a little behind. Let's get show MIDI up and running. Zoop. Let's say 5 MIDI CACs so that if So this library came out, Keyscape came out 3 years ago. And so I got to go to LA and see the event. So yeah, which made me realize, I think this is the last thing Spectrasonics released, right? So it's been a long time other than updates for Omnisphere, which take a lot of time and stuff. But man, I hope, oh, Del Norte, yeah, that's a good one. Why not use the Radio Ready library for Omnisphere? Well, that's almost cheating because, let's see, do I have Radio Ready even loaded up here? I don't have it loaded, but that's one where it loads up, everything's ready to go. What the idea with the videos, the 15 width, is to show you the range of the sounds in the libraries, give you an idea of what you can do with them. And I'll do one for Radio Ready for sure. But I think that's kind of like almost too far along. I mean, it's like even some of these things here when you just play a note and it just takes off for you. I mean, this means I just jam for 15 minutes, right? Anyway, I could play these all day long. So let's do this. Any questions? I want you guys to be able to offer some, yeah, Del Norte is really, really cool. I vote for Del Norte too. Okay, so today we'll play with Del Norte. Enough of you guys are pointing that out. By the way, also might be a nice moment for me to mention, if we go over here and pop this, if you guys want to get inspired with new patches, now would be a good time because there is a sale going on for Labor Day at my website. So 40% off this weekend through Monday night. I don't go to 40% very often, just so you know. That is a very rare, deep cut. I know all these websites like to do 80 and 90% off, but they're if they want to give their sounds away, that's their choice. That's not what I do. But 40% is really a big cut. The bundles have been hidden. They're not available because they are typically at 30%. And this is a bigger discount than that. So you can buy whatever you want and get a better deal than if you were buying a bundle right now. So take advantage if you want. Thank you for your business, as always. I appreciate that. Oh, yeah. Well, we'll look at BYOME. So today's plan is we're going to look at these delays from a couple different companies. Starting with Arturia. And let's do this. Let's call it just a piano because that's a nice pure tone that you can hear some of the delay things with to hear differences. We'll also have maybe some drums going that we can shoot it over to. So let's go to patches. Yeah, we'll just... okay, we'll do that. Piano. I mentioned piano, so... Let's go with just the 16-foot hardest. Okay. First offering on the list over here would be... Now, by the way, I bought these. These are not delays that were given to me. I don't do a lot of the artist endorsement kind of things, the NFRs, all that kind of... Wow. They have an audio just popped, which it's kind of weird for an effect to do that. So they've got a weird bug in there for the delay. This is a interesting delay in that you have a mode to select whether you want it just to be what are called as repeats. If you go up here, it's reverb and echo together. And you have a reverb amount here on a knob. And then there's a hidden area, like Arturia likes to do this, where they have pre-input EQ, they actually have some noise, flutter, inertia, and an LFO, which you can assign to any of these parameters. So you can do some cool things. So let's do this. I'm going to just play a little sequence. So that would give us a little, and we had a nice little groove going on from, who is this? It's doing that. Oh, it's a Contact Super Macho Drums drum kit playing some hi-hats, it looks like. Cool. Okay, so that can play along. Why are you... Yeah, I had a weird situation. Let's see here. Let's do this. Get rid of that. Let's say new instrument. Sorry about this, but I've had this really weird thing pop up, and the best way I've found to just nip it in the butt is to start a channel strip over it. Just I record it, it doesn't play back, and I'm not sure if it's a MIDI channel specific thing. Oh yeah, okay, so I see MIDI channels happening here. So go to MIDI channel. All. Was that all it was? So I like the MIDI data I played, so let me see if I can get that back. Oh, what did I do? Let's see. Redo. 1 second. I'm playing around. There. Now, look at this real quick. Okay, so now we go back here. Say, give me Omnisphere one more time. So how's the weather where you guys are? I feel sorry for my friends in Florida. Hope you guys are all well. I want to go 1.2. Go to user directories, colors, keyscape, keys, 16 hardest. Okay, we should be. All right, let's play a part one more time. Wait, different timing. That's not quite right. Okay, so all, and it's doing that thing one more time. It's weird. The first time I record something, it doesn't play, so I make a copy of it, and the copy plays. So, okay, so we gotta get. Okay, now we're ready. Sorry for that. So up here they have their browser, and you can go here if you want to just look at. So I'm gonna just have it repeat the first two measures for this part. And let's pop this up so you can see. This is crazy delays. I will say it is a very nice delay. The filtering is done the way that I like, where it's post the delay and then it goes back in, so you can... It does a nice darkening over time of the delays. Okay. And if you wanted to change parameters over here, you have the active heads, what type of delay it is. The rate, we're not synced right now, but we could say sync. That's pretty cool. Double echo reverb. So you can do subtle things like this, nice for pads. So this is using rate left and right, so you could bring down this depth if you wanted to. Just to get to be a nice bit of detuning out of place. Or really wacky. And here's your rate. So you can slow this down and have the depth slower and a higher mix of wet and dry. Okay, back to reality. So yeah, I would use that. So there you go. So this is one of 3 delays. They sell the 3. If you're gonna get them, I would recommend the package because you can get all 3 for half off right now. $99 for 3 different delays. This is one of the 3 delays. The other delay is a memory brigade, they call it, which does more of the bucket brigade. And again, they have a pull down modulation, but it's different parameters. You still have the input EQ and the LFO, but here they have an envelope follower, so you can do ducking of any of these parameters, which is cool. I had some cool things happening with drums, stuff like that. Here's some of the other presets. Let me kill the hi-hat so you can just hear the delay. Now the dub, this might be a cool one to show on something like if we go to Beautifully Broken, we got drum loops. Let's go here. Let's say clean. There we go. We're back. Oops. Let's see, show MIDI, get this over here. All right, we were at beautifully broken. We were gonna show, actually let's do it this way. Let's go stack mode and let's mute this so I can go to part 2 and have a different sound. This way I could have a pad, or even better, heck, let's just do this. Let's go multi-mode, turn off stack mode, turn on live mode. That way one thing is on at a time that I choose. And I'm gonna go over here, part 2, beautifully broken. Don't you dare crash. Here, I'm gonna hit save. And let's say cool drum loop clean. And we have this on top of it. You can get a vibe for it's got a really nice vibe to the delays. You can have vibrato or chorus, stereo width. You hear that? That filtering is really nice. It's nice quality filtering that's happening to that. Let's go to some of the more creative. As you can see, they have experimental. And mixes. Right? Now this might be sounding nice on a pad, so let's do this. Let's go to part 3. Mega Magic pads. Where's pads? Right here. Let's do something like not too complex bamboo splitter. So we go over here to live mode. And let's go back and find something a little more pure to work with Battleborn. So here's, I get the feeling we're gonna crash again for some reason, so hang on. I hope we don't, but there's some memory things going on here that, here's without it. So if you wanted to add a vintage vibe, let's bring down the amount. Here's without it. So you can definitely take the edge off things, give things a more of a vintage vibe if you want. There's all sorts of colorations you could do here with the input EQ and LFOs. The third delay that they have, let's go over here to, and piano is not loaded. Interesting, okay. Keyscape. Why didn't you load your piano? Why does things happen like this in a live stream, you know? It's just one of those funny things. Let's say harder. Right? It's, oh, my fault. User error. Okay. So here's another example with the Memory Brigade on piano. Bring down the blend. It's very nice. Considering the feedback is as high as it is, isn't it? Okay. Number 3 of the delays in the new delays you will actually use series is called Eternity. I thought this was an interesting delay. It has 2 possible lines. It has 2 LFOs as well as an envelope follower and the input EQ. It's got a number of different dual modes, including ping pong, pan, dual, and dual serial. So you can get a lot of interesting things. Here's envelope follower with ducking. Bring up the ducking amount. So you can control the ducking so it works differently. Put a filter. That'd be nice on something like, if we go to live. Right, so it's LFO, here's your rate. Here's your amount. So if you were to do that, you'd go here to cutoff. You have 3 different types of delay or filtering. You have a 6 dB with no resonance, and you have a 36 dB with no resonance. But you still have peak, low pass, high pass filters. Right? The middle one is their SCM, which is a Oberheim style, and it has resonance. So you can get into spacey land. So if you want to be tripped out, you can take the stereo image. It's got stereo width parameter, which is nice. You can get mono if you want. It's a pitch shifting ability, so it's actually changing the pitch because I believe it has a cool thing over here for the time mode. You can choose between pitch, digital, or fade. So as you're changing the actual delay time, if you automate this, you better be like glitch or beat step type of stuff. Or re-pitch, where actually, right? So it's got some really cool different parameters. They've thought it out pretty well. Very flexible. So this is the delay. This is doing the pitch, I believe. I hit link. If you wanted to, you could go over here and say, give me a sample and hold on the line 2 delay, line 2 left, right. Since I've synced and linked, I think, oh. Sync this up to be 8th notes. Do some cool stuff. Drum repeater, doubler. Now, I will point out, these are not the only delays on the market. As you know, it's 2019. There's a lot of other delays. A few you should be aware of. One that came out this year that I think is definitely worth a serious take. Just so you know, there's when you do a review in a magazine, they have in the little right, they have the like compares to. So this is the compares to section. One of them, of course, is Valhalla delay, which has the ability to do far more than just 3 delays because it has a bucket brigade delay right here, digital ghost. It can do pitch, which is really interesting. Right? And this delay is $50. So it's very competitive and can do so many different things. The presets, if you go to some of these crazy things, there's definitely some sounds in this delay that are like future delay. If you're trying to do future electronic dance music things, you might want more this vibe. You know, all sorts of. Right? You could do some really cool things. This territory isn't covered, from what I can tell, with the 3 from Arturia. They're more trying to be more emulative and creative in the delay space, but they don't go too far into the new delay space. So beware of Valhalla. Another one that's been around for a long time, it's one of my favorites, is Crystallizer from our friends at Sound Toys. Let's see, Sound Toys. This is one that has that cool pitchy. You can go to pitch. And there's also right? So there are other delays out there. We could keep going. What's some of your favorite delays? Anybody have any feedback on delays? Do I like Trash from Isotope? I do. I will say that for the flexibility, I think you should also, if you're looking at Trash, to also make sure you look at the Decapitator from Sound Toys. This has just the drive. You can really bring up some, and you have different types of processing. But Isotope, especially Trash 2, I hope you're talking about version 2, right? Is really good. The EC3000 from McDSP is great. Yes. I don't have that one, but McDSP has some really cool effects. Timeless, I have that one. That is from Fab Filter. That is also a very nice delay. This is actually Timeless 2. And it has some crazy flexibility as far as the interface is kind of like synthesizer programming with delays. So it gets even more into being a synth delay. You can do all sorts of different effects. They've got things for different percussion. So again, new vibey kind of stuff. Here you have filtering, and then you have controls down here for controlling the filtering and stuff. Offset, here's your filter 1 peak. So there's a lot of these that are dedicated for delay. I want to make you aware of one more, and this leads into the next part of our discussion. I love how this works out. And that's BYOME. BYOME is from a relatively new company. They are unfiltered audio. That's two guys. They're really cool guys. I got to meet them at the NAMM show and talk to them. And that they're released through the Plugin Alliance. So you go to the Plugin Alliance. Let's see, I gotta make sure I turn my Do Not Disturb off. And BYOME stands for Build Your Own Multi-Effect. And it is a rather unique beast in that you have basically a large list of delays, distortion, dynamics, filters, granular engine, mixing, modulation with chorus, flangers, and some really cool reverbs that you can then modulate down below with different things that you just drag a cable. And if you go from this point to, let's see, oh, this is the output. So outputs are at the top. If I go to this, I am now modulating that parameter with an LFO. Amp is the depth of it and the frequency and the phase and so forth. So with that in mind, let's go to delays. Start with like something normal, which of course isn't because it's using a glitch shifter as an effect. So this is kind of, we get into mind-blowing territory really fast with this effect. So be aware, BYOME also stands for blow your mind. You have filtering. Now this is one of the reverbs. Let's do this. Let's get the delay to be, let's say like, now instead of diffuse, let's go to other reverb types like Renown is just this monstrous reverb. And again, now all I have to do, I could say I want this to, this is a sine LFO, so I want to have this controlling the dampening. And you can see, as I grab and choose each of these to be modulation sources, a new one pops up to add to it. So I can, reverse it to be inverted. And my amp isn't at 100%, so I'll put 100% so you can go crazy very quickly, backwards delays. So be aware things like this exist. It's maybe more expensive to go this route, but it can do so much more because you have, if you want to get to the crazy stuff, let's skip the bypass the factory presets, which are all cool. They show all sorts of really cool flanging, chorusing. Go to the artists, and Richard Devine had a lot of fun. And so it's doing this to the delay tabs. And as you can see, you can condense things. So if you want, running on its own. Remember, underneath is, right? And you could put this through piano. So this gets you into new territory of exploratory fun really quickly. So if you're into experimental and you want put audio of any choice, I could even take this. Let's see, let's go here. Don't crash. Okay, good. Watch it. If I can get this to work, I could take that. Give it a second. And it should be on my voice. No? There it is. So now I got my audio process. Test 1, 2, 3. So I could have just a little bit. There's a master mix. There's automatic gain control, sample rate. So I could. That's really cool. I'm feeling glitchy today. How are you? So we go all mad. I don't know what I'm saying.
So it's crazy where you go. If you want to process your voice in a cool way, this is the place to go.
Testing 1, 2. So you should be aware of this effect and its capabilities. These guys are somebody to watch. So there you go. It goes so many places and can do so many cool, unique things. I've been a fan for a while. Anybody that's into glitch knows about BYOME for sure, because it's such a great place for unexpected things to happen. And it's has, as you can see, a really fun interface to just, all you do is click and drag to the, there's no hidden modulation. You actually see the cables of what's set up, so you know what's happening, right? So it's very fun to play with. I want to make sure you guys are aware of this. Like if I want, I could, let's say, make this fast. And it's doing this aliasing because of the sample rate. So let's put, watch this, this will be fun. Add a new effect, and let's say a step sequencer. And let's take the output of the step. The only thing I'm not a big fan of is it's really easy to get this whole area really wide, but let's change the sample rate with a step sequencer that's gonna go up, down. Let's just randomize all this stuff and full amp, and it's at a 16th notes. So if you're in experimenting and you want a place that thinks out of the box and you can just add effects to your hearts, I mean, you can go over here and you can duplicate, randomize this specific preset. There's a randomize button right here, which will randomize whatever effects are on the screen, the parameters. So any effect that's been called up, hit this and it will randomize it. So it's pretty serious in the experimental, oh my God, I had no idea, stuff like this. I'm not getting a cut. I do not get a cut for the things that I promote. But I just want you to be aware of these and this company. If you need this to be put on other audio effects and stuff, it's really cool, and you should know about them. So I want Plugin Guru customers need to be in the know. So BYOME is definitely somebody to watch, and I'm gonna leave it right there with them. It's Crazy stuff, okay? So we've gone through a whole bunch of delays and ended up at BYOME. And there used to be a couple other things. I'm not sure if they're still around or if I should show and talk about them that did similar things like this. This is really unique in what it can do and the way that it works, because it's not one where it's trying to sell you a whole bunch of different effects. They're all built into it. I mean, you can go to this list and there's nothing short of like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 7. Yeah, 7 different delays, distortions of all sorts, dynamics. I mean, let's do this. Let's call just one last second. We'll play for a second with live with the drum loop on distortion so you can hear. Let's go to the presets. Go to the factory presets, and it's nice they have, you know. All sorts of places. And at any second you can go, okay, I want to add a delay to this or a reverb, and it's right there to just click the add button and add, let's say, pitch delay. And I want it to right? It's very easy to add and then hit the randomize button. Oh, wait, I was in the, let's go back. And I added the tape delay. I added pitch delay, right? So pitch delay. And then the randomize. And if you're into sound design, you will find you have 6 different types of the bit crush. So it's not just bit crush. Other thing that's really cool, let's do this. I think there's a way to get to a default. Check this out. This is also really cool. The modulations, chorus, flanger, phaser, all of these guys have 4 different settings for the rate, including low, which will go up to that as a max, synced, so it can do timing, high, and quantize. Turn down the output because it's going to get really loud. And then take this mix and have it controlled by an LFO or a step sequencer or something. Like, let's do this. Just for fun, you could add a step sequencer. And let's cable this so that the output of this goes to the mix, and this is at 50%. And this is 100%. Now just randomize and see what you get. You'll go all over the place. Oh, I'm going through presets again. So more distortions really quick, just so you hear some more. I mean, right? I mean, crazy stuff. So BYOME, build your own modular effect or multi-effect or blow your mind exponentially. It's a really cool effect. Telephone, of course, all that kind of stuff. Their EQ, by the way, is also really cool because it does a really cool thing. Check this out. So let's go reset to the defaults. Say they're mixing 3-band EQ. Check this out. So you set the frequency that you want it to be at, and then it's a multipliers. It's not like plus dB, it's actually a multiplication. So it's a different way of seeing the value parameters, but I just like the sound of their. Very flexible, very cool. So I've had a lot of fun with this. I've used this on some projects that are coming out in the future, stuff like that. So it's definitely something that is interesting. Triad goes way further. Oh. Right. Yeah, I haven't worked with Triad yet. I just got this. Tantra is also really good. Who makes Tantra? Oh, Tantra is, that's the guy that's done Thorn. Where is he at? Anybody remember the name of the company for Tantra? I could show that. I have it here somewhere. ECV. DS. Oh, Dmitry Sash. That's right. DS. Actually, he's been moved, I believe, into the Plugin Alliance. No, he's still his own Dmitry Sash. Tantra. So this is another one you should be aware of if you don't. This is especially useful for, I won't even say what styles because it can go all sorts of places. But this has a sequencer and multi-effects. And some parameters for the multi-effects, not to the point of BYOME, but you can... you have these effects. You can change the order of them very easily. You can have it sequencing parameters of the effects. You can even have it muting steps, which is great. You have glitch. Right? It's a great multi-effect. It's one that I'm glad somebody brought up. That's why these live streams are fun. They're interactive. It's not just me going, I think that stuff. Yeah, Tantra's been around for a long time. Airwave told me about this like 3 or 4 years ago. And I was very impressed because it's... especially on rhythm parts, it's really great for the sequencer that's built into it. But you can use it on pads and stuff like that as well. If you need to have rhythmic parts made out of pads, not a problem, right? Very cool. So they have expansion sets. Here's things specifically for pads. You have a big wet dry mix down here, so right? So there's so many places to play with some of these different effects. So this is very fun. Taking sounds that would normally be, let's see, pop this up, say bypass. And having it all of a sudden it makes it so you can use sounds in dance tracks and all sorts of places in clever ways. I mean, you almost wouldn't know it's a piano. Then you have all sorts of other stuff going on around it. Very cool. So, yeah, thank you for pointing this out. I forgot that Tantra was in this category. There's also, I believe, auxiliary is another one. That's a multi-effect that's triggered by playing keys on the keyboard to call up different effect presets. There's so many creative ideas people have put forward in different effects. Right? Okay, so Tantra, BYOME, we showed Crystallizer, we looked at Valhalla delay, and then the 3 delays from Arturia to start everything off. So that's a lot of different delay effects into synthesis, multi-delay, multi-effects. So much fun. And with Labor Day, I think a lot of these products you'll find on sale at various websites where they're sold. So let's see, any feedback? Movement by output also. Yeah, that's, they have a new one that's a glitch one I don't have yet that does glitch processing and so forth. I still use it. I did remix for a friend here. Occult. I don't know about that one. Yeah, Tantra is maybe a little bit more cultured and ready for use for like somebody that's writing music. Whereas BYOME is definitely maybe a little bit more adventurous crowd, somebody that's doing more out there kind of music, probably I would categorize. Although you can do this, there's not a lot of patches that show it in quite the... So this is sequence blink, which means we should probably go over to, let's see, let's go to Del Norte to some sort of a sequence thingy. Oh, these are the multis. So I want to go over here. And do I have... You know what? I'm going to have to restart this if I'm going to show Del Norte, because I don't have the patches for Del Norte in here. Interesting. Okay, well, let's go Beautifully Broken for a second for a BPM synth type of sound. Or a lead. You have different types of filtering, including a vowel. And underneath this is just you get the idea. There's a lot of different fun things out there. So shoot, I'm going to have to go open up my hard drive. This will take just a second. But I'm going to go over here, Guru out, settings, go to patches out, and there it is, Del Norte just hanging out. So let's get that and bring that down here to patches. This is one of the bummer things with Omnisphere is, let me save, and this will take about 2 minutes. I'm going to quit, and then I'm going to call this back up, and Omnisphere, which as you can see doesn't show Del Norte in the patch list, will show it. So 1 second. All right, we're back. And if we look in the list now, Del Norte is here. Yay. So this last segment, I want to try something kind of new and different. Let's see, make sure these are all, do I have, it's going to take forever to go through this if this is the case. I thought I had, nope. All right, one more time. Oh my God. Okay, so we got to do one more thing. The samples are not there. So I'm going to go sound sources out. And I need to open up. Let me show you how I'm doing this. This is the unofficial way you deal with tons of libraries. I have a folder inside of the Omnisphere folder. It's called the out folder. I call it work in progress out, but just as long as it's not inside of the settings library where you find patches and multis, then Omnisphere doesn't look for them. So I have patches, I have multis and sound sources out, and you have to be really careful because they all have the same name. In order for a library to work, the multis, the sound sources, and the patches folders have the same name, so you have to be really careful if you try something like this. So the Del Norte samples, all of these sample maps for all of these different things, this is down here, needs to go into the sound sources user folder. And now I can go like this and show MIDI, get this in place, and save, quit. And we're back. So in order for this directory to load, I probably have to go to sound sources and hit the refresh button to refresh. I also want to point out another thing that's coming that I am personally excited for, curious what you guys think, is what's happening for Propellerhead's Reason. It's getting a whole new update. They are going to update to Reason 11 and call it Reason Studios. And what's interesting is that this will now have for the first time a version of the rack, the various instruments and effects that are part of the Propellerhead's Reason plugin application are now going to be available as an actual plugin to be used elsewhere. So you can use, and there's so many cool synth plugins, Dr. Rex for playing Rex loops, all sorts of things that this will open up for people that own and work with other DAWs besides Reason. And so a lot of people that probably haven't upgraded to Reason in a while will upgrade, because this is a biggie. Having this ability, I'm really excited about. Yeah, Reason Rack as a VST is really cool. Oh, has it updated? Okay, so now we should be able to go to one Del Norte and choose a sound, and yay. And it's going through Tantra still. Okay, so the 15 minutes with, I'll probably go more than 15 minutes. I'm not very good at doing less than that type of things. But basically, I'll give you a quick explanation of the library. This one is a very special library, because this is one where, gosh, I think 2 or 3 years ago, maybe, I can't remember exactly when I did this, but I went to the Redwoods down in California, Northern California. And I stayed in Crescent City for 3 or 4 days, and I brought along my Virus TI, and I recorded a whole bunch of really cool Virus TI sounds that I created, found, explored, and so forth that inspired me while I was in the Redwoods. So I made all of these different pads, and they go. And all these samples are from the Virus TI. I could have called this Mega Magic Pads Part 2, but I didn't. But there's some really cool... Right? Just goes so many beautiful places. Then I made synth versions of a lot of these as the multis. Just incredible. These are using 7 samples across the keyboard. On top of this, the thing that really makes this kind of come to life was the fact that I'd gone through and realized that a lot of pop songs, you hear really cool attacks, and they're very percussive in nature. And it just so happened, as I was going through Super Macho Drums, I have all sorts of cool little percussive sounds that I'd created along the way that were part of the upper percussion type sounds. And so I went through and actually made and I found that by putting these percussive attacks onto these sounds, and you could go to part 8 and actually look through Del Norte and go to the different sounds that were used and go to these different hits. Totally changes the vibe of the sound just by changing the attack. Right? So I hid on a lot of these multis. Down in some of these other ones, they have it turned on. So this has this wind, which is part of the sound. If you take this out, right? Big difference. And then if any of these, if you want, you go to part 5, see the list here, and change it to be, first there's patches for the first half, then when you get to the Z, this is the core library at the end of all this stuff, of all these different... Am I on the right part, or is it part 6? Oh, part 6 too is also in there. So 6. And go down here to all the different Z sounds. So it's very easy to get different vibes and attacks. So let's do this. Let's start with one of these. Okay, let's use this maybe as a start. So I'm going to record with this, and then we're going to add to this with, since this is a multi, we'll have to use another Omnisphere to add on top of this. Let's do for a groove. Let's do this. Let's open up Super Macho Drums and surf around for a minute. Find something that, this is the Future Bass kit. Let's try that for a minute just to see what we have. Let's go to the groove player, go to the drum grooves. Let's say maybe down tempo. I like that. Let's say we want to use that. So I'm going to go over here to my sequencer. Come here, sequencer. Let's drag this MIDI file over here. I want to modify the sequence because there's a few notes in there. So I'm going to hit P to see the piano roll. Like the ride. I don't like that. I like that. Do I like the snare? Let's use that snare instead. And I'm going to double it. Maybe with that. Turn it down a little bit. I need to quantize a little bit harder. Maybe the strength, bring it down just a little bit. Okay, so there, I've got a groove to work with to start with. So let's go looping that, hit L. Let's see how this. Now, unfortunately, could your CPU woes today have been a result of BYOME? Well, the CPU woes first started with the Arturia, to be honest with you. When I loaded one of the Arturia delays up, when there's a audio glitch, I hear a dropout, and I heard that when I loaded it. BYOME wasn't until later. When I loaded BYOME, it wasn't in the system, so it wasn't BYOME. This is one of these cases. This is one of the drawbacks with Omnisphere doing multi-samples, is that if I want this envelope to ring out a little bit longer. I need to copy this by going copy envelope, and now go to each of these and paste. I mean, it's nice that we can do this on a per keyboard range basis so that I can say, high notes ring longer, short notes ring shorter, stuff like that. But it sure can be a bummer in cases like this where there's 7 patches that you want to ring out, right? But we can deal with that. And so I want this to be louder. And as you can see, I have the envelope a little soft. Okay, so I have an idea for a groove. And I'm making it open because I'm going to call up one of my delays that I was using earlier, right? So. All right, one more time. 1, 2. Okay, so I have a little idea there. Let's try Tantra. I think I need just more delay for this. Let's go to Arturia. Don't crash. It's version 1, and whenever you have version 1, don't need a granular cloud. Oh, let's go like this. Let's shorten this. So let's loop it. Yeah, it's Apple's fault, right? That's nice. I mean, okay, so we've got an idea. We've got the start. Let's go looking through some of the other sounds in this awesome. Let's do this. Let's say bye-bye. I was showing basses last week, so those were all loading. And we don't need that. And we don't need that. So we'll double click and go over here to Omnisphere. And let's go to this library and now look for some individual parts to be added from Del Norte. There's so much here, my goodness. Almost sounds like the delay's on it, but that's in the patch. Let's just play the jam. Oh, I have a gap at the beginning too. Bad Skippy. Bad Skippy. Let's go over and fix this real quick. So it went to measure 1, Command T. these are different. Because one thing I sampled from the virus was this pick mute patch, which is really cool. Wow. Hey, I found a match. Cool. Okay, let's use that. Now I might take this clav verb. Let's just for fun, let's put a high pass filter on this. Oh. Just so I could get it to be more. Oh, that's really yeah, the hurricane heading towards Florida, South Carolina is intense. Hopefully none of you in the path are watching this live stream right now. That would be, unless you're like in Georgia or somewhere in the middle of the US watching. So, 2, 3. All right, so I messed up. Let me see. Do I want to try to fix that or redo it? I'll redo it because it's, for me, it's easier to play it again. Okay, so I can clean that up to fix it. So quantize, loop. Let's look at it real quick. And these notes aren't quite right, so 6. Do. And that's so 7. And let's make it shorter. Oh, wait. Down, boom. And bring up the velocity by just bring up this slider here. And let's do this, make this softer. So it's just down, boom, boom. Boom. to do doom. Doom. I think that was my little line I played. Okay, so the only thing I'm not sure about is 7. Yeah, I don't need to do that. I need to go. There. It's a little clashy right there. So if you want, you can actually look at the two together. You can sometimes figure out what you did wrong by shift clicking too, so you see them into the same window, which is nice because I could see that bass was in the wrong place, so it's easy to fix. So okay, so this is part 1, and we're gonna set this to be MIDI channel 1. Go to track, other, new track with next MIDI channel. And I can just do this a couple times, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I have up to 8 parts I can add from this one omnisphere, and we'll see how far we can go. So we go to part 2, and by default, it's all set to be ready to go. There's we could have a creeper, but we don't need that. Chords probably won't work for this because there's so many different chords I'm playing. There's so many of these cool things. So let's do this just for fun. Let's take that perky part that was played on that, and let's just copy that quickly over here to this pad. And then I think we need to do a little bit of an operation. Let's click and drag these notes to be a little bit longer. Because they're too short, right? That's kind of cool. Now, this might be a case where it might be fun just to play it. So you can see some of these. I'm just going to keep going down the list because the idea with this is to show you all the different places. Like that one I should be able to copy directly. Let's see what it's undo. And And I hear that I actually have a wrong note in both of these parts. They're both guilty. So let's go over here. Measure 2. There. And I played a moshy thing there. This is kind of like, I call it gardening. You have to go in and you got to pull out the weeds. If you're playing real time, you're not always going to play every note perfectly. So you need to go back and just go through the track. It's actually really good to just solo it. That's clean. That's clean enough. And then we could have over here on part 3. Let's go down the list and see what else we can find to get in trouble with. We'll definitely need some sweeps and stuff like that. I made a lot of keyboard sounds. And what's fun that you can do if you have Keyscape, go to here. Oh, that's right. These have the Keyscape in them. This is one of the libraries. It's the only library I've done besides the full Keyscape library where there's a handful of patches. These key and then say KYSC at the end. They're using Keyscape for... So I wanted to use all these different pad sounds that I made and different things that I'd come up with. It just works so nicely. So I made a handful of things that are keys. Now this has really long releases and lots of effects, right? So all you have to do for this is go over here to shorten these guys. Go over here to the auxiliary send. Just to dry it out a little bit. And look to see, there might be a delay somewhere. Is the delay coming from here? Yes. And I have this down low already, but let's bring it to like 8%. Okay, so now if we were to take this part and copy it to here, and as you can see here, my processor is kind of pooping out here. Let's see, let's get this right here so we can keep an eye on this. Yeah, okay, so we can't get any more than that, and it's even questionable if we should get that. So if that was the case, what we could do is go over here and say, copy part, because I want to keep the effects and the edits that I did, right? But I'm gonna go over here and say, initialize this patch so that it's gone. And now you just have to do this. You would go and say, I don't need these 8 parts because it can't play them. Make another omnisphere. And paste part. Paste part. And it will put in that piano sound. And we could go to part 3 that we built and go. There. As you can see, as we spread out, no more audio glitchy. So we could say, let's put this MIDI channel 1 and see if we can get a couple other parts from this omnisphere. So this is our third omnisphere. So I'm kind of showing you some data management when you're working with something like this. Let's go to part 2, because we like part 1 with that piano sound to just thicken it out a little bit. Del Norte. And there's so many. Let's try, I want to make this darker because it's going to be background to everything that's going on. So I need to bring down the envelope intensity amount. And it's 140. Oh my God, I've gone over. Let's see if I can add this part really quickly. Okay, so now if we shape this a little bit more, again, a lot of production is shaping sounds to work what you want them to do. So let's solo just this part. Maybe for fun, we'd add harmonia and add 1 octave down. Okay, just to add a little bit more thickener. If you wanted to really get crazy, might be fun to have this pulsing. So let's go over here and modulate that with an LFO. Sync, unipolar, legato. And get the right wave shape. And then maybe for extra fun, let's have that also happening to the filter. So modulate this with that same LFO. Let's unsolo. Now we gotta find the right place to put in the mix. Maybe an octave up. That's better. So we've added a whole bunch of parts to this. And if we wanted, we could go over here and try some other grooves just for fun to see how these would work. Oh. Here's my drum groove. Hip-hop patterns. Why did that a halftime feel the same? So let's go over here. Let's go to the beginning. I want to get something that's more like a poppy kind of thing. So let's go pop. And say right here, see what this is like. Am I on the... I know what it is. I have to probably double click here. There. And then let's say we don't like the poppy snare. So you can play around. Like, let's go here to this sound. I like this, but I want to be short. So it gives you an idea. I don't know. Was that effective? Was that cool to show? I'm just trying to see if these 15 with. I think it's funner if I do something with like the Del Nortes. Oh, Tim, don't give up. I did a jam session with a friend of mine, and you know, the BPM type of libraries work really well for this. So I think maybe that's where I would show more. I mean, this was fun. Hopefully you guys like that. But the BPM, like, or even like Omnipulse or Omnichill was one of those that I wanted to try to do. I thought that'd be cool. Something like this is just so fun just to start. And let's see, why am I on channel 7? I should be on channel 1 or all. Right? And if you go to this library and just by choosing and turning on stack, go to part 2. These types of libraries I mean, it's just so fun to build with the BPM libraries because you can get such crazy stuff going so quickly. So it's even, you need less than 15 minutes, right, for this type of a thing to happen. Right? So those are maybe more effective for the 15 width, but hopefully that gave you an idea of what you can do with Del Norte. But I'm gonna come up with something. I got a whole bunch of videos I want to start releasing on stuff like that. So anyway, hopefully that was helpful. All right, I'm going to wrap up for this week and wish you all a nice, safe weekend. If you're in the path of a hurricane, please get out of it. Hopefully this inspires you some. All right, so let's do our shout outs to you guys in the room. Shout out from PDX. Yeah, percussive works with all sorts of things. I could easily go to here and start with percussive and we would never see the light of day. But we won't do that right now. But be well, and I will talk to you guys all soon. If you have questions, if you have ideas for future live streams, feel free to send me a note. Let me know. I'm happy to listen and get all sorts of cool ideas for what we can do in the future. And there's something cool coming this week, so keep your eyes open. I can't say what, but just be ready for something cool, all right? And there are fragments and hints of a few things in this live stream for what's coming, but I'm not going to say any more than that. Just enjoy the week, and I'll see you next week. We'll have a lot to talk about, okay? Bye.